Here we are with club legend Wayne Sprangle, who has returned at our time of need. Sprangles, there's been a lot of people commenting on social media, and they're keen to understand what's going on, how come you're back, and what the motivation is.
Well, quite simply, I left my role as player coach over at Bridgewater back in November. I just, in all honesty, I got fed up of the level of rugby. And unfortunately, the lack of commitment from players. I mean that's just local rugby for you, I'm afraid. I did it before at Tiverton as well, but I think with players being off for so long due to COVID, it's quite hard for those clubs to get going again. And for me, who's always been quite committed to it, it was quite hard work, and so I decided to walk away from it and have some time off and spend some time with my children. I spent with my wife, unfortunately, my ex-wife now, beginning of the first lockdown. So we're now divorced. Everything's all nice, which is good, and we're all both moving on. But so I just needed some time to myself away from the rugby, and I think that lasted a whole of 2 months.
and then the itch started to get, and obviously you saw the Albion, and how did it work? Did Max get in touch with you? Did you get in touch with the club?
So I popped and watched Plymouth versus Taunton at Taunton, obviously, because Taunton's my local club, and every time I wasn't playing, I would always just go down and watch them over the years, and I quite liked just going to watch them and have them as my local club that I'd go and watch. I've never played for them, and had never really any interest to play for them. So I went to watch Plymouth, obviously with Albion being my old club. I thought I'd go and watch the game, and I bumped into Max and got chatting to him, and he asked me then would I be interested coming back as an old head within the squad and somebody who's played at championship level with Albion, and but I made it quite clear that for me it was just I was just enjoying my time off, and maybe get in touch with me in January, and and that's what Max did. So he made the call to me, dropped me a message, and I said, yeah, let's have a chat. And then it was basically for me the drive for it is I'm at a position where I'm 39 years old. Like, do I retire or do I keep playing? Now, I have always enjoyed playing. And
so spring chicken. Mark Bright's on 200 games at championship level at 43, so I'm expecting.
Well, I know. So
I'm expecting, and the way you've performed the last few weeks, it's been very noticeable having, and I'll put in parentheses, the older head, the enforcer in the forward pack, sort of carrying the ball, taking it on, and you're certainly having a positive influence on the forwards. How are you enjoying it?
Yeah, I'm loving it. Absolutely loving it. And like I said, do I retire or do I do this? So I decided to do this. Unfortunately, it has to be kind of a little bit on my own terms, because I have my children every other weekend, so I can't drag them up to Leeds and stuff like that. But it just so happens that at the moment, when I do have them, it falls on times when we're at home, so they come and watch, and they've been loving it as well. I don't think they've realised, actually, Dad, you're actually half decent at rugby, I think. Because they were babies.
I've got a bit of my own pang of jealousy. My pair come along to Albion and have a whale of a time. And I was raised in a rugby club, and being raised in a rugby club is a good place to be. But looking now, obviously, to matters at hand. The run-in, we're playing everybody around us, and we're certainly at the wrong end of the table where we'd like to be. But how is the mood in the camp approaching this sort of crucial period of fixtures?
Yeah, I think we've just we take each game as it comes, so we don't look beyond the next game in line. And we've talked about not feeling any pressure in terms of what we do on a Saturday, because we've proven that we can actually score points against all the teams, all the top teams. We've scored tries, and I think picking up points each week, if it's just 4 try bonus point, then that will keep us in good stead to the end of the season. So we take each game as it comes. Lads are infused by just going out there and playing a bit of rugby. I've certainly been enjoying it and chasing those tries each week, and putting pressure on teams to see what they've got when we're coming hard at them. It's really good. I'm enjoying it.
And from a personal note, how does it feel for yourself? Because as I say, you've known the halcyon days of Albion. The infrastructure's there. We've got the coaching panel there. There's big ambitions over the next few years. But how do you see yourself as being quite an important cog in the wheel, making that transition from the ailing club to resurgent club?
Yeah, it's very different to when I was there. It was like 9 years ago since I was back at the club, and it is very different. And at the moment, I'm just kind of observing everything, and chatting to Max and yourself, and listen to the ambition of where the club wants to go. And it's amazing how they're trying to make it a very family-orientated club, and it's great seeing so many children and wives and girlfriends around the club as well. And I think that's always really important for players, because if you get your wives and girlfriends on side, those guys can go away without feeling too guilty.
That's pretty true.
Yeah.
And looking back to this weekend just gone, the Moseley game, if ever there was a game where the score didn't offer a fair reflection, that was it. Every opportunity that Moseley had, and some opportunities they didn't have, they managed to score. Albion were a dominant force for the first 25 minutes and found themselves 14-10 down, 14-12 down. How pleased were you with the guys fighting back at the end after some really fortuitous and almost peculiar tries to get that losing bonus?
Yeah, we said we're going to hunt points down, and that first 20 minutes, playing that game, I just felt, God, we're in a good place here. Like we know how to score, and we are battering them. But all of a sudden, to be points down, we just getting punished from our own errors, and that's basically the story of that game, really. A few errors here and there, and when you're attacking quite hard, all of a sudden you're up the other end and you're behind your post. I think as a mental work on for us, I think we've got to switch from where we make an error to then reacting really quick for any tap and goes, and making sure we're defending and not allowing those little errors to be punished. Because to be fair, Blackheath were Moseley were very good at punishing us when we made those errors, so it was good. I mean, the task of just hunting down those 4 try bonus point is brilliant. The guys stuck at it. At training on Tuesday night, Salts made a comment about how, even the last play of the game, they went for the corner for a driving maul, and we just absolutely obliterated it, turned them over, and that was the end of the game. But it just showed the mentality of the players that we're not prepared. I mean, that try to us wouldn't mean any different. There's never try against us, but wouldn't have made give them any more points. But it just showed our mentality that we absolutely just hammered them to win that ball back and end the game on like a small positive.
Yeah, well, I mean, from a supporter's point of view, I was at the game. I shouted myself hoarse, cheering you all on, and I couldn't have been more proud of the effort from the guys. I mean, how is everyone feeling? Because it was, I saw especially yourself and the old bull Dan Collier were taking some knocks, and you had that glance as the old man thinking, I might get substituted now, but you knew there was no one else, so you had to pull up your big girl pants and really battle through those last 20 minutes. Yeah,
it's quite hard when we were stretched on the weekend. We had a 3-man bench, and 2 of them were props. So even in the changing rooms, when we're getting changed, we were saying to us, well, there's 80 minutes for me today then, let's just grind it out. But, you know as well as I know, Chris, I've always been an 80-minute player anyway. And, I think it's I've worked hard over the last couple of years keeping myself fit and strong as much as I can. And I think that does help. It was difficult Saturday. There's a few battered bodies at training. I feel pretty battered.
It's good though, isn't it? It's a good sore.
Yeah, it's good. I've got a nice shiner on the eye, and I get a lot of comments, and I think my face will change shape again over the course of time because I'm getting more battering again. But
speaking of battering, I noticed you've moved forward into the second row. Is this a permanent thing, or just because injuries dictate?
I think I actually did it the beginning of the year with Bridgewater. I was playing a lot of 8 over the last few years, but as I've got older, I find playing 8, it does take your toll on your body because you have big collisions from first phase. And I think if I want to play rugby and keep playing, then I've got to manage myself better. So I moved myself into the second row. So it brought me into the game kind of second, third phase a bit, a bit more. And, you're running against guys who are probably a little bit more flat-footed rather than just teeing you up and whacking you.
Yeah.
I'm more than happy to play wherever, if they, I've said to Damo and Max, I'm there to help. And if I can be a forceful player on the pitch, then I will do, and I'll just give everything as I always have done.
Sprangle, it's very obvious, and I think this has been a cracking interview. One final thing: the Albion faithful, the social media lit up when they saw the name Sprangle back in the team, and I don't know whether it's because they're remembering the times when you're playing, or whether they actually like you. Have you got a message for the supporters? Because the supporters are certainly keen to hear from you.
No, I've had a few messages from supporters, and they've also ended up adding my friend requests on Facebook and stuff. So I would say, like, it's really nice to come back to the club and seeing some old favours faces still there, kind of supporting the boys no matter what. And I've had great comments from loads of people saying, you boys are really putting the effort in. We could see it. So I just really thank them for still turning up and putting their effort in as well, because we do notice it when there's more people in the stands and you see the same faces each week, even all that long trip up to Coldie the other week, and seeing those guys, they're shouting, they're making the noise. It makes a huge difference to our performance, and it does drag us through the deepest, darkest parts of the game sometimes. So yeah, a big thank you to everyone. It's great being back at the club. I've had lovely comments from everybody, and it's been great. Thank you.
Brilliant. Sprangle, fantastic. Look forward to seeing your results on Saturday at Cambridge, and in a week and a half's time we're home to Tonbridge Julians, which is a mega game. Right.
Unfortunately, I'm not playing in that game because I'm going to Berlin, aren't I?
Oh. we'll probably edit that bit out at the end.
Yeah.